Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Population, army of one. A lot of mother fifers, spreading my name with rage. Masked up, dropping the bass now, ready to laugh you off the stage. It's that umbrella guy back with the mic check, standing still crushing the show. We're PR, no we're not, wait a website interfering with his cash flow. And maybe stop using kids to push your cheap products. But they're shiny rocks. Yeah, you can't sell them shaped like small roosters. Yeah, roosters, that's it. Yo, roosters. And while we're dancing, let's kick this into overdrive. Wrecking the hardwood to see if roaches will survive. How many people have they threatened and docked so far? Targeting witnesses and police while claiming nowhere PR. There's a legal line, and you're too dumb to know you've crossed it. Dial a lawyer, maybe they'll tell you to toss it. And here's a question, how to tuck yourself into bed, knowing what they keep in a bottle in the back of that shed. The ex you ignore. You say listen and believe, well, you got it. Your own client's version of truth. Yeah, we've sought it. Pretending everyone is sympathetic, but the things she's alleges you're ignoring now, that's pathetic. Pretend alright, but keep flexing, pretending you can't lose, hoping you'll make on the nightly news. At this rate, not only will you fail, but one of you morons might land themselves under the jail. Funny how it's their truth you're being sacrificed on the altar for. Not the truth. Their truth. Their version of whatever makes the change jangle. But hey, as long as you sell a few shiny baubles and get some greenbacks, you're okay with it, right? Right. Cause you know it ain't right.
Cause you know it ain't right. What's up, folks? How's it going? How's it going today? Welcome to a Friday edition of Let's Talk About Stupid People involving the stupidest people in the world. That's right. Hale's actually put together a pretty good video today. I was listening to everything on it. And we was talking about all the problems that that have manifest themselves in certain things. He mentioned a fascinating little dilly too. He said that paint chips would be added to litigation. Now, those idiots, yeah, I mean, I would think when you create revenge porn and you put it online, that might be a problem. Might be a big problem for you. You know, forget anything else that's happened. And you know, it's really fascinating about that is these idiots share a byline. Now, remember, they put that thing that was done. Both of them decided they would put it under their names. So, all that's always fascinating, isn't it? So, that was mentioned. I thought that was kind of, like I said, fascinating. But again, you know, they. By the way, I noticed the stuff that happened recently must have shook them quite a bit. And the reason I say that is because old Darth Touch would write me every 2 days like clockwork. And then suddenly he didn't write for, let me check exactly how many days it was. It was a gap. It was kind of funny. I mean, we are talking like clockwork, you know, like a stalkery ex-girlfriend. And then 7 days passed. 7 days. Where he was like, oh, well, I don't know what to do, I guess. And then back at it again. It's so funny though. I have had stalker ex-girlfriends that had much better tact than that. It's kind of crazy. You know, today too, this is wild. So we had a tree that decided it wanted to try to fall on the house. And it's right. I took some pictures of it. It's pretty wild. I was like, oh my God. Nothing like walking outside. We had one last year that pulled a somewhat similar issue. Check this out. This is nuts. Give me 1 second here. I gotta pull up some pictures of it. Oh, check this madness out there. So I went outside today. I was like, let me go look around. You know, it had stormed. Why not? And man, it didn't pull it up. Give me 1 second there. I hate it when this thing acts stupid like that. There we go. Man, what is up? Computer's acting stupid today. I'm going to close all pictures and do it one more time. When it rains, it rains. Actually, when it rains, trees apparently want to fall on your house. It's very strange. Now, check this out. Look at that. Look, it ripped it up by the freaking roots, man. Yeah, aimed it right at the middle of the house. Now I did not make it to the house, but it tried. It tried. I mean, look at that there. Ripped it right out of the ground. You can see like where it ripped the roots up and pulled that sucker right out of the ground and aimed it right at the freaking house, man. Ate it on the ground now. Pretty good size too. I was kind of shocked by it. You know, I was like, well, thank you for that. That's what I need for tomorrow. I need to have somebody come out. Like for myself, I can't go out and chop it up. Normally I would do something like that, but I can't do that right now with everything that's been going on health wise. Like, yeah, probably shouldn't handle a chainsaw. That might not be smart. Yeah, I don't feel good. They call me Stubby. They call me Stubby. No, but for real. I mean, what a freaking stupid thing. Now, at least it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been like a gigantic tree. It was decent size. So any tree aimed at your house is bigger than, but I was like, man, right out of the ground, man. Look at this crap. Like I said, look at that. Rip it right out of the freaking ground. Rip roots and all. Just flipped it over. I'm glad it didn't go the other way because the trees aim at the other neighbor's house. Man, right at it. What a mess, man. What a mess. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up my chat closed. Give me 1 second on that too. Yeah, the Hales video though today, I actually thought it was pretty good. You should check it out. I mean, they do videos anyway, but today was pretty good because of all the, they talked about the lies that were caught in the latest filing that we saw, and it was pretty bad. I go through and mark how many times they actually lied, but I thought you would probably have an easier chance of going in and marking every time they told the truth. I thought that was actually probably a little easier there. Now, what's interesting is we ended up with a brand new filing that talked about wanting, of course, money. Now, well, actually, let's talk about something before we hit that, which is kind of fascinating, to be honest. We talked about the removal of counsel. We talked about that yesterday. We're talking about how Stark wants to drop out of the litigation. He wants to vanish, to ghost out, which is interesting considering, again, sanctions. He seems to think that he can just pop out and, I guess, all accountability that he had would totally go out the window. But, that comes with its own problems. It comes with a huge set of problems, in fact. Check this out. This is really funny. MaxLab pointed this out today, and I thought this was really funny because... I don't know. There's just so much oddity that's involved in this case. Anyway, give me a second here. I'm pulling this one up for you to show it to you. But I want you to look at something, okay? And I want you to tell me what the problem is with this, first of all, okay? Now, this is about the thumbnail mess, right? You can see that here. You can, interestingly, people pointed out where he wants to withdraw. You'll notice the motion of hearing. He had the date there. It was totally wrong. But look at this with me. Now, when you look at that filing, look at 61. Read the description and you, in the chat, tell me what's wrong with that. Like when you look at it, again, the thumbnail litigation. What you see what it says. Now, what's wrong with that? Do you notice anything off before we talk about it? Like I said, I'm curious. Like when you look at this description, what do you see that looks wrong? Because there's so much oddity. There you go. Right off the bat. Lee said, yeah, isn't Lynette isn't she the one bringing this? So when you're talking about a motion for withdrawal, aren't we talking about the plaintiff bringing it? So did Stark file that he was wanting to remove himself as defense counsel? Oh my god. And I would believe that, to be honest. I actually would believe that he probably filed that. Not that the court messed up, but that Stark filed that. I would not doubt that in any way, shape, or form, that he ended up filing some craziness like that. He had so much wrong in his filings. It gets to the point, again, it just proves that he doesn't know what's going on with this trial whatsoever. One thing would be an error. Many things would be something else. Many things would be another level of stupid. And remember, already, we also see the other error. Like I said, we see the 16th. If you don't remember that problem, that was actually noted by Stark when he wrote He said, "Dear attorney, shock it. He needed to withdraw his counsel and seek a postponement of the April 15th hearing." See that there? So he doesn't know it. He doesn't know what's going on with the trial. I wonder, though. Okay, so there's something weird about all of this, though. Okay, like something really weird. I got thinking about this a lot more. And I mean, I want you to, I want you to listen to this, okay? Because again, I don't want this to sound whacked out conspiracy theory. All right, I have an idea. Now, again, this is just my idea. I don't have any proof of it, but I'm wondering, based on certain things that have happened recently, if this is what's happening. Would you like to hear my would you like to hear my idea of what would be going on? Again, I'm just basing it on everything I'm seeing right now. It's not, again, can I say for certain that's what's happening? No, but do I get this weird feeling about it? Yeah, because you gotta. Okay, let's look at this together. All right, now first you have to remember that Stark, he filed yesterday. It came up docketed today on the big docket, but you'll notice the filing date, the 10th, right? Now, weirdly enough, what has happened with that in the last, who else has tried to do that recently? BBB. Right? In fact, he filed a withdrawal for counsel on the 3rd. That would have been a week ago, right? A week before this happened. So within 1 week, you have not one, but 2 counsel try to walk away, which is very odd, right? I mean, that's pretty strange by itself. Now, when all of this happened, you have to remember the first time that this stuff hit the docket. The very first time, Give me 1 second here. Let me pull the docket thing back up, the screenshot. Okay, now the first time that we had our push, knocking the hearing out, with them saying that there was that they would not be around. I mean, you remember that, right? When they first did that, do you remember what they said that they did that for? They said they did it because they wanted to take the whole 420.08. They wanted to take that filing. I think I said that right. If I said the sanction wrong or the statute wrong, my bad. But the whole thumbnail litigation, they wanted to take it and they wanted to move the charges, right? But Bruce said that they couldn't be sanctioned if they put those charges elsewhere. You remember him saying that? He was like, he's of the opinion. Now, again, I'm not saying that's true, but I think that's his thinking, before. I think he made it pretty clear. If we have that somewhere else, that you can't sanction us for it at the time. So they tried to move it, and, well, they did move it to the counterclaims in the federal case. Now, if you remember, in the federal case, we didn't talk about this quite a bit, but let me pull up a document for you, okay? Because there's actually an order on it. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this idea, but it's something that you do need to know happened. As far as the counterclaims are concerned, you had Bruce file that he wanted to remove item 2 and 3. That would be counterclaim 2 and 3. Remember, there were 3 of them. You had them filing their crazy and insane conspiracy bullshit. You remember that? Because I very well do. The one that I mean, it was confusing. It was like, who exactly are you pointing this stuff at? So they ended up filing that, like I said. They filed the thumbnail litigation and the invasion of property, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, a piece of the trespass 5. Okay, well, when they asked for that, they actually had, so here's the order talking about this. Just a note. So upon consideration of the foregoing, it is ordered, again, this came in on the 28th of March. This, with everything that went on, it didn't get a lot of fanfare because you had the hearing with Bruce and everything going on. So a lot of people just, they ended up not mentioning it. And even if they did, I don't think it stuck with a lot of people. But the defendants, they ended up voluntarily dismissing count 2 and count 3. Now, the plaintiffs with that, they did not object to that motion. Accordingly, the defendant motion was granted to the extent that counts 2 and 3 of defendant's counterclaims are voluntarily dismissed without prejudice, meaning that they can file them again. Now, there's a point to me mentioning all of this, by the way. I just want you to note that. And then there was a motion for plaintiff wanting to dismiss count 1 of the counterclaims that is still on the docket. All right. So, by Bruce's logic, I wonder this. Count 2 is now in play again, right? I mean, it's all out there. It's all back in play. Suddenly, by Bruce's, again, logic, he believes that that he can actually be sanctioned, for that stuff. Actually, he doesn't, I don't know if he believes that sanctions will be approved, but I think he knows deep down it's a problem. I think he really does. He may talk a lot of bullshit with it, but I think he really does know that this is a problem. So what we have now, again, is another thing that suddenly slows down what's going on in the sanctions stuff. Again, 1 week after Bruce says, hey, I'm going to remove myself if you have this mess. Hey, I'm withdrawing from counsel, and I put in a notice. 1 week after. Yet another thing that would slow this down, put it on delay, that might add yet another month to it or so. Now, along with this, we had the last filing in the federal court. In the last filings, well, 2 filings, we'll say. In the last 2 filings, we've had Bruce, number 1, what we'll look at today, he's asking for money. He asked for money in 5 separate filings. 4 of those got stricken, and he came back and filed one. He has 1 other one on the books with that. Now, on top of that, with those 5 filings asking again for money, he said, we need something to fund our endeavor where we want to sue. We want to bring a big lawsuit. What I wonder here is that if BBB is actually trying to put things on hold while he tries to throw his Hail Mary for funding, so he can launch a lawsuit in the next few weeks with potentially him attached to it. I mean, if he removes himself and he only gets sanctioned in one thing, that doesn't mean that he couldn't add himself to another case. He could potentially try to add himself to something else where he sues. And again, he's been asking for money to fuel that. Now, you've heard the ecosystem lately saying, ooh, big thing coming. And on top of it, they have not been freaking out about Bruce and what him clearly saying that he is running from this case, which is fascinating. I mean, you would think, I get they want to stay on their grift as long as they can, but you would think people would wisen up and be like, yo, he just said he's going to abandon them. That no matter what, he's trying to ditch. You'd think there'd be a little bit of, with some people waking up to that. But I think he's been selling at least a talking point to these folks, telling them, well, actually, this is what we're going to do with that. You know, and as part of his show cause, again, remember, we talked about this yesterday, actually. We read through the certain part. I think there's a part of it that's really telling. You know, it tells about future plans. And give me 1 second. I don't want to heavily spend time on this, but I do want to note this again. Remember, he said that he wanted to stay around for his Hail Mary summary judgment filing. He wanted to be able to file one more filing if he could get away with it. And if he got to file that and they won, well, hey, good to go. But if not, well then, he says local counsel can be partially funded by attorney fees. Now he tells you with this right here, he wants to fund this. And you know he wants to fund other litigation. So he's telling you, you know, on that, again, he plans on ditching. He makes it pretty clear in this, if I'm not, again, you know, if the case is not dismissed on summary judgment, local counsel will be needed for the defendants for trial, as the undersigned would be unable to neglect his family and law practice for weeks, if not months, to try this case as a solo practitioner. I don't have any money, la, 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 la. If the court agrees that the plaintiff's counsel has abused litigation to multiply proceedings for YouTube content so that attorney fees are awarded, which the thing we will read today, then set aside money, because otherwise these idiots, they'll plead guilty, because ultimately again, the way I read this is he knows they're guilty. He knows. And he admits that his whole thing, again, this admission is amazing because he talks about signs. I think he really knows the sign thing is a problem, because now he calls handwriting experts junk science experts. You know, this is the same guy that he and all these morons went out there and dumped a so-called handwriting expert into the public, trying to say that that was the end all. Oh, it proves everything. Well, now they're calling them junk science. Now, I think that's an admission over who they had as an expert, but also I think it's an admission another way. I think they're afraid of the handwriting expert too. I think they're afraid of it. But more than that, like I said, I think there's a lot of admission that's going on. Now, remember with another filing that came up, they had, give me 1 second here. They had a filing, if you haven't been keeping up with numbers on this, so this would be, actually, I think you should keep up with numbers, by the way. This is the easiest way to track these insane cases. And when you watch other cases, you can keep up with how many filings have actually been put into this insanity versus other stuff. You have, as of 4/10, that would have been yesterday, 131 filings. Now, this filing was one that the court said that they did grant permission to file. Although I did find it fascinating that considering all of his problems, he would decide that, yeah, I actually want to go through with that. But then again, I mean, reading a room has not been one of his best things that he has ever done. Now, that filing, by the way, just a note, is a combination of a bunch of stricken filings. You had document 104. Now, document 104, if you look at this, is him saying, we want money because of document 80. All right. He's asking when he got called out. He didn't like getting called out, so he's like, give me money because of document 80. Well, it doesn't stop there. He also ends up asking for money for document 85 and 86. Now, this will be interesting because he's the counterclaim portion where you have document 85, 86. That's where Randy was sanctioned for. If he's going to play that game, then I guess we get to talk about the 31 filings he's had versus Randy's 11, right? And I guess if we're going to go with that, then I guess Randy should ask for sanctions on the documents that were brought up for him, plus his behavior and more. I think that would be fair, since he's playing that game. But 85 and 86, once he saw that they were going to come up in the docket, he was like, oh, got to ask for money for those too, of course. Of course. With the judge bringing them up, of course. Which is, it's fascinating too, considering the way that stuff came up. It's really his ineptitude that made those things matter more than anything. You have document 114, which again was another one asking for that because of the depo of Amanda Martin, which is fascinating too when you think about it, because discovery is not over. Again, they keep saying that discovery is over, but they are lying. They are 100% lying. I want to make that clear. Discovery, where Bruce is saying that, again, I'm going to say it for the back of the room. He's lying. Discovery is not over. The judge said it. I'm tired of him, again, promoting shit. Especially, they promote these ideas to idiots that don't read documents. And when they do that, these idiots think that certain things have or haven't happened, and they never bother to proof that idea. But this is actually spelled out in another document. Oh, I got a raider.
Hey.
Hey, girl, what you doing?
Watching TV.
Yeah, did you have a fun day today?
Yeah, I did.
What is that? You hear that?
Yeah, it was on your phone.
I know. Why'd that come on for? Look, there's no sound, though. Wonder how that came on. I think it was answering it. I think when you said, hey, I think it thought you were talking to it.
Hey.
Yeah, I think it said, hey, what's up?
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, I think it was responding to you. I think it was like, hey, girl, you keep trying. I think I turned it off, though. So it's not going to do that again, okay?
What did actually happen?
I have no idea. It was crazy, though, wasn't it?
Hey. Hey.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to say?
There's a lot of hearts.
Yeah, there are a lot of hearts today, aren't there? People telling you hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Did you have a fun day, though?
Yeah, I did.
Did you make... I was telling them about our tree that fell down.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a flower tree.
It almost hit the flower tree, didn't it?
Yeah, the trees that put flower on the ground.
Yeah, the pink flower tree. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried again. Another flower fell off the flower tree. It's like...
Yeah, it almost fell on it, though, didn't it? It came close to the house, too, didn't it?
Yeah.
It came close to the air conditioner. If it fell on the air conditioner, we wouldn't have had any air or heat. We'd have been like, oh my gosh, it's so hot in here. That wouldn't have been fun, would it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
I meant yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You can be like, yeah.
Yeah, I like the flower tree because I tried to pick some more flowers, but there was a big branch and I can't even get that.
Oh, guess what? Tomorrow we're thinking about going to ice cream. How's that strike you?
Yeah, if you're going to open, we going to have to get the same ice cream from yesterday.
No, we're going to go to the one big ice cream place. The one that we went to the last time. We're by the big bookstore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking about going to that one.
What's your favorite ice cream place, do?
My favorite ice cream place? I like that one. That's my favorite ice cream place.
No, favorite ice cream I meant.
Oh, what's my favorite ice cream there? I like that Mexican ice cream, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go over there and have some ice cream.
Yeah, you better give me some. I just go buy some. Just
Here's what? Oh, we might go. Wait a minute. I don't know if the donut store is open tomorrow. You want to see if the donut store is open too? We have this donut place in the middle of our town that makes the best donut.
There's a place that has that little candy thing. It's called... I don't remember what's it called again. Gigi knows.
What little candy thing? What are you talking about?
That draw pen thing that's candy. The paper is candy, but you have to put the pen on it.
Oh, well, I'll ask Gigi about it. Yeah. I don't know if any of you have seen candy pens and paper. You know? She saw it on something, and she's like, oh, my gosh, candy
pens
YouTube. And papers.
It's on my TV, but we're crushed
Everything's YouTube, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube.
You
Big
probably
ABC.
YouTube.
ABC is from candy from a place that I watch from, but I don't remember the name.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember it. I don't know. Every place I look, it's either...
Kroger.
I don't...
Kroger's coming.
Did you say... What place was that?
Kroger.
The first time you said it sounded like Kruger.
Kroger. I don't remember
Kroger.
Kroger.
Yeah, Kroger. I don't remember going to Kroger very often. What, are you saying Kroger has it? No way does Kroger have that. No way.
There's a place that we saw when I was watching TV. I don't remember what it is.
I'll ask Gigi if she saw something. All right, well, you need to go upstairs, kiddo. Give me 5. You go upstairs. Get you some rest. I'm telling you, if you want to go tomorrow and get ice cream and stuff, you better get rest. You better go sit down and stuff. Rest up. Rest is best. You gotta be rested for tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day.
We'll always watch his TV with Papa before he goes to sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can go and you can sit down and watch some stuff. You got a big day.
Did you say what the place says?
Okay.
Well, it's not asleep right now. I watch TV often.
Okay. Well, go.
I hear the TV on every single night when I hear it every single night.
Yeah, you should probably fall asleep with it on. You know, Sissy likes the noise on it because you're noisy sometimes. Because you snore. I heard you the other night when you came down here and went to sleep. You were snoring. You sounded like this. You sounded because I was going to make a video, but I kept hearing this in my headphones. Do you know you snore?
No.
Yeah, you sounded like a little piggy. He said,
I didn't even know I saw.
Oh, yeah, you snore loud. All right, hey, go upstairs. Hey, go upstairs and I'm on a live stream. Go upstairs and then yeah. No, I didn't do it on live stream. I didn't show anybody else. I thought about making a video, but I couldn't. Yeah. I'll go upstairs though. You can come down a little bit later, okay? Let me go through what I'm doing here. All right. She does. She snores like a little pig. Huh? Later. Tomorrow, not tonight. You already had one today. Okay? Tomorrow. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
Okay, so what I was saying here, again, just to bring proof to this, because I don't like to say this without proof. Again, they keep saying that the counterclaims, or that the discovery has been completed, right? I mean, they keep saying that. Now, remember this, the case was frozen. You remember that we didn't have any progress with the case whatsoever. It just ended up in limbo for a hot minute. But on 03/27, before anything was finalized, while Bruce was filing all this garbage, we did have an order that came up. This order, again, the same one he's using now, so he should realize this. This is what cracks me up about it. He should understand, because the same order that allowed him to file the document we're talking about today, the one where he combined the 4 items there, this was the same one that said this line, and I pointed this out yesterday. The judge, these are judge's words, by the way, said that this simple 1 plaintiff, 2 defendant defamation case has 117 docket entries. Now, remember, that was 117. Now it's under 131 right now. Well, by the way, so we are well beyond that. But he makes this other statement, and I really want to stress this for people that are being told that that stuff is done, because the judge himself said discovery, it's not been completed yet. Now, remember, there was the deadline for them to turn over discovery items, not to finish discovery. We have a lot of stuff that hasn't happened in discovery. But just like so many other items that come up in this mess, you have that too. It's fascinating how many things that you have that are just not correct. Just not correct at all. But as part of that filing there, he was allowed to file, here, give me 1 second. He was allowed to file a document that combined those 4 items. So that's what he did. He went in and he tried to combine in 5 distinctive things. Now, it's fascinating because he talks about something like the depot of Amanda Martin, for example. Number 1, the signs were brought up in the depot of Amanda Martin. That came up, but other things came up as well. And in discovery, he actually brought up something really interesting that I think it's a good talking point. And that's the fact that out of the depots that have been noted by Randy Shockett, only 2 have happened. Now, I wonder why only 2 have happened. And more than that, why, when there's been no filing of it, why Bruce is so over on the top of that one. Is that because you've been telling people they don't have to show up, Bruce? I'm curious about that. Because that seems like a behavior that well, it seems like that goes against everything that the court, I'm sure, intends. You are allowed to call witnesses. You are allowed to ask them questions. And it is fascinating when everyone that the other side has called decides that they're not going to follow any type of order. They're not actually going to show up, even though, again, they have been properly served. They have been asked to do so. And he can't say, the way he brought that up, he tried to make it sound like these people, all these depots, they're being done for whatever reason, right? But the problem is that we have no idea what those depots actually would entail because they're not happening. Because all of these people in unison, they're skipping them almost like they're being told not to come, which is a very strange thing because, there's this allegation of conspiracy. And every one of these people that says that they don't conspire together or anything, all of them decide that they're going to skip their depots. And, I think that's a little strange. Don't you? Don't you think that's a little bit strange? I mean, just to say, all these folks, again, that are conspiring together, according to that, they've all missed. Oh, by the way, let me bring up one other thing while we're on this subject too. Well, it's not really this subject, but the subject of everything that's come up, including yesterday. So, apparently, in order to prove that that somebody wasn't lying about armed security, yesterday, 2Ls brought up an invoice that interestingly was overdue on 12/12. I hope that's been paid for, by the way. I really do hope that's been paid for. But this is, it's kind of fascinating when when you look at this, it's kind of sad. What's fascinating to me is the guy who decided to recruit a convicted extortionist and a fraud, one that brags about their violent accusations against them, and said that he would, there'd be a projectile going into Jeremy's eye and all kinds of other crazy shit that he's going to show up at people's homes and stuff. That Bruce has been on the emails for that. because he always phones home to daddy, because he can't operate without daddy's permission. But isn't it fascinating? This guy is like, but I need security. Isn't that bizarre? Either I feel like he's putting together a narrative drift, which that's possible, or if he's afraid to go anywhere, like he said, in his prior issues where he got in trouble or reading those letters, about his past. If he truly believes he can't travel, that's its own problem too. I mean, that kind of stuff seems crazy. But this was provided as the quote unquote proof of. Now, again, best case scenario, it being real. Again, is it real? I don't know. Was it paid for? I don't know. But best case scenario, if the guy that I wouldn't trust to tell the truth, for anything, actually was telling the truth, what exactly does that prove? Because Jeremy Hales has a protective order. He's the one that's carrying the protective order, by the way. He's the one that has to go into a courtroom with these people that have talked about, clacking him in the head and shooting him and feeding him to gators. That, according to Shara, we're looking to hire a hitman against him. And again, we know army of people were conspiring to. Well, they're not talking about baking a cake for Jeremy. I'm going to say that's probably not the case. So, yeah, I mean, if that's been up, I mean, really, who am I supposed to feel bad for in this? The lawyer that says, well, I've got, why? What's your need for security? And again, this guy, this douchebag, and we're not talking about paint chips, like I said, this guy, again, that's brought in just to harass dogs and to make threats. That's exactly what that guy's here for. He's a piece of shit that is brought in for no other reason than that. He's an absolute scumbag. And Bruce knows that. And Bruce, he seems to be A-okay with that. He knows what he was dealing with, and he keeps bringing him back because that's the kind of person he is. But he plays victim because that's who Bruce is. Always the victim. It's amazing to me. But he's asking again, money. 5 distinct and separate ways. Number 1, he wants it for Depo of Amanda Martin. He says who is subpoenaed on the pretext of being a witness, but who was questioned about personal matters, completely unrelated to any claims. She was questioned about the signs, by the way. So, to say that it was all personal matters is a bunch of bullshit. She was questioned about the signs. In fact, there were filings that were brought up about Amanda Martin that mentioned the signs, saying that, hey, here's another person that witnessed them, which Bruce argued with. So he knows that exists. So this is a lie. This is an absolute lie. He knows that Amanda Martin was number 1. He may not like the answer. He may not feel that the way that went in, that was somehow relevant, but it is relevant to the case. It asks something that is uniquely, he keeps saying that the whole case, remember, they told you the quote unquote, their words, bad neighbor storyline that's based on road signs. Remember his whole narrative, YouTube road signs. And yet when asked about the road signs, apparently that's not related to any claims or issues in the lawsuit. But it is 100% about the claims and issues in the lawsuit. So right off the bat, we start with a lie. That's number 1. We start with a lie. Now, number 2, he's trying to get in to get on 85 and 86. And like I said, if he and a judge want to play that, then they can, I guess, trade sanctions. Worst case, best case scenario for them, they could trade sanctions that way. Because Bruce is going to get sanctioned. And when Bruce gets sanctioned, for filings and for emails and stuff, I guess Randy can ask for money off of those too. And for the, again, 3-to-1 filings, if we want to go with that. He also noted, of course, in his footnote, you can see he's gotten into the habit of putting footnotes almost on every filing title, which is wild. But he points out that the court gave leave for him to file this, which they did. So he did not get sanctioned for that. That was his one thing he could file. Everything else is on pause. And Randy now gets to respond to this, by the way. 3, though, falsely accusing the defendants, counsel of fabricating quotations. Again, this right here, what's fascinating about that is the judge didn't get back to agreeing with him on the document 80 for his 12B1 motion. Kiddo, what are you doing back? What are you sneaking down here? I heard you sneaking. You slipped, didn't you? You tripped. You were going to sneak in behind me, weren't you?
Yeah, but
You slipped, right? You were sneaking like a little ninja. I heard you. I heard you sneaking. She was sneaking.
I did fall down the steps.
No, you didn't fall the steps. No, you did fine with that. But you slipped over here behind me, like right over here somewhere, and I saw you slip.
Yeah, I did slip somewhere.
All right, you need to go upstairs though. I got to cover this. Okay.
Kroger actually have that candy paper and this stuff. A lot of stuff like candy hot dogs. No one wants candy hot dogs. That's so gross.
Candy hot dogs. That does sound very gross. Yes, that sounds very nasty. All right, go upstairs.
I don't fall if I say that.
That's very gross. But all right, have fun. Love you.
I'm taking that.
She's gonna sneak down here and try to scare me. All right, go upstairs. What is that? No, hey, be careful with that. That's Sissy's hair clip. That'll break. Yeah, go give it to Sissy though. That's hers. So go give it to her.
Well, no, we'll take a shower.
Oh, well, hey, make sure she gets it when she gets out of the shower. Maybe she'll want to use it for tomorrow. Yeah, that's her hair clip.
I saw wearing yesterday one day.
All right. Close my door. Thank you, baby. And then on the 4th, he claims, interestingly, he keeps trying to go with this about paying half of the court cost for the court reporter, despite the fact that, again, there are emails that go over this exchange, and it looks very much like Randy ended up paying his portion there, because with that, see, Randy, this is the interesting thing. When you look through the discussion that he's having with the company that provided that, what comes up is they billed him for a copy of it, right? But he paid for the court reporter. If you pay for the court reporter, you don't have to pay for the copy of it. You understand? So he's like, I've already done this. I already paid. And they were like, he was like, can you make sure that, I wasn't billed twice essentially for this? You go through and he's paid. So Bruce has been trying to lean into this narrative that company was not paid. But it looks like there was only one person that did not pay off their portion of it. At least until recently. Maybe that paid that off when he had, he had that fundraiser where he had to collect, what was it, $3,800? Because otherwise he was going to probably be collected on, which is fascinating. I've never seen anybody collected on because they didn't pay for their portion of their depot. But he keeps playing this game with that. And it's wild because, again, he's trying any way to lie and clown. Anyway. But he knows. He failed to pay half, then attempting to extort the undersigned by threatening a motion for sanction unless the undersigned paid him for half the cost of the transcript copy he had purchased. And that's not how it went. It was a discussion again. It's pretty damn clear what happened in that.
Did you say a bad word?
What?
What's that? Can I say it? What horse said?
No, you cannot say a bad word. No, ma'am.
No, horse said.
No, you cannot
horse
say a bad
said
word.
bad
Don't.
word.
Yeah, but don't say what she said. Don't tell me that, okay?
Who just said bad word?
No, okay. Well, that's fine. I'll talk to her about it later. All right. Go upstairs, though, for real. If you want to go get ice cream tomorrow, you better go get in bed. Otherwise, no ice cream.
Have some cheesies.
Huh?
Cheesies.
What? Cheesies? Yeah, you can have that, yes.
That's not candy, though.
Yeah, I know it's not candy. You can have that one thing. Yeah. It's yours anyway.
Can I get pretzels for Sissy?
What?
The pretzels.
Yeah, take her the pretzels.
Can I get the
Okay. That's fine. Yeah, she loves pretzels. Take them to her. That's a good idea. Hey,
Yeah.
don't be a narc, okay?
What?
I said, don't be a narc.
What's a narc?
It's somebody who tells on people all the time. Sissy said a bad word. She doesn't need to say bad words, though, for real. Okay? I'll talk to her. So he says, again, he notes, I do not want to go through every word of this document. Oh my God, some of his documents are so boring. But again, he goes over what 28 UMC 1927 states. Again, for sanctions. Actually, I guess this does matter. We should note this. Any attorney or other person admitted to conduct cases in the court of the U.S. or other territories thereby, who so multiplies the proceedings in any case. Huh, Bruce? I wonder if that says you. Again, he likes to pay polyflop, and yet, look at what this idiot's done and how many things have had to be answered because of him. Unreasonably and vexatiously, I would say, that is, Bruce, may be required by the court to satisfy personal cause, blah, 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 blah. Under the language, again, 3 factors. Attorney must engage in unreasonable and vexatious conduct. Such unreasonable and vexatious conduct multiplies proceedings, and the amount of sanctions cannot exceed the cost occasioned by the objectionable conduct. He's so desperate for money. I'm telling you, he is desperate to reach into Jeremy Hale's and Randy and pockets. I mean, he wants to get paid. He wants that money so bad. It is clown. And he's so mad. All this stuff comes up after document 96. If you need proof that he did this as a retaliatory measure, document 96, that's where this hearing came up, that he ends up getting in trouble on. Okay. Then you have document 100, where he moves to strike this. He tries to knock it out, and that doesn't work. He gets 2 weeks to respond, which you will respond with 115. But instead of doing that, what he does in the meantime before it is he files document 104. He files document 105. He files document 114. When he's supposed to be, again, responding with his 2 weeks, in that 2 weeks, then 115, he finally responds. He copies and pastes his defense, because he wants to do this. He actually prioritizes this move above going and seeing the judge. Don't you think that's crazy? He prioritized that higher. Instead of writing out a new document, he prioritized trying to reach into those pockets higher. Then he filed 116. He also filed 117. So in reality, there were 5 moves for sanctions there right after we had Doc 96 come in. If that doesn't say retaliate, I don't know what is. It was being pissy, but also just won that money, baby. Won that. You know, again, they talk about what vexatiously means. You know, he's actually quoted this before, so I'm not rolling through everyone. And again, this here was document 104 and 105, essentially. It's been copied and pasted in. Now, he talks about, again, Amanda Martin. Amanda Martin, counsel deposed a witness for harassment and YouTube content. Now listen to this. An award of attorney fees is warranted for plaintiff counsel abusing depositions to harass third parties on the pretext of deeming them witnesses. On February the 14th, plaintiff's counsel spent approximately 90 minutes deposing Ms. Martin on topics unrelated to any claim or issues in the case. Now you notice the wording there is fascinating because he doesn't say in that document. You notice how he changes the words to try to be slick. You notice? Here, he's talking about completely unrelated. You see the wording that he uses? He says that her depo was completely, like all of this was about personal matters, completely unrelated. Here, though, when he's playing, he's trying to say that there are topics related. It doesn't say all topics. It just says topics. Isn't that interesting? He tries to play this game again, where he's not saying everything. That's not what that says. But some topics. You know, and I would counter that to say that all topics are about that. When you talk about the past history with these people, everything that comes up, you're leading to a certain point. But again, this is the same guy that says that the depo of Preston herself in a trial that she brought was somehow not only unfair, but somehow was unrelated to case for the most part. So, I mean, that's the kind of person he is. But from questioning, it's clear he had an axe to grind because she was the Levy County victim's advocate assigned to defendant Preston. Filed for state court restraining order. Oh, you mean the one that was dropped? Is that weird? You notice he never says that, by the way. The one they dropped. Huh. That is fascinating, isn't it? Attorney Shocking questioned Miss Martin extensively about other things, making a dirty face, making a comment about being an a-hole or psychotic, her relationship, the relationship, her son, including delving into Miss Martin, revealing unaware about her son's whereabouts, her feelings about plaintiff, having publicly read husband's obit, other topics having nothing to do whatsoever. Counsel's apparent aim was to upset her, which he repeatedly did. Okay, so apparently, when accusing someone like Jeremy Hales of being a racist because of the shirt that they wear, apparently that wasn't his aim to upset people. Isn't that fascinating? You're supposed to be. What exactly do you think deposing somebody does? You know, when he was accusing Shara of calling his client crook, and it derails the whole thing. Was that supposed to make her feel good? Is that how that worked out? Does he ask feel good questions? I missed those. Miss Martin was clearly not aware of the claims or allegations in this case, had no idea whether any of the questions she was subjected to was relevant. She patiently and politely answered all questions, even when Shockett questioned upset her to the point crying 2 occasions. When the undersigned finally interjected that the question had no relevance and the depo was being used to harass, plaintiff's counsel threatened motion to sanction. Yes, 100%. Not your client, asshole. Not your client at all. You told this woman that she did not have to answer questions. She was being deposed. You decided that you would tell a person that they could call it off. And you interfered with it. I've rarely seen lawyers act out the way that Bruce does. And continually. He acts the same way he always has. So yeah, you were indeed warned about that. As the depo continued to ask personal upsetting topics, Ms. Martin called out for the other lawyer. You mean the other lawyer? You mean she said, "Are you still there?" You know, the guy who was coaching her? Yeah. You had interrupted to the point that now she was calling again. That just proves that you should have had your ass sanctioned for it. I hope to God he brings that stuff up. You have opened up the door for it, and I hope to God he brings up the fact, because you won't get to respond to it. You know, you've already put this in, so I hope to God he brings up the fact that, yeah, about that. And he does get to respond, by the way. We'll look at that filing in a second. In response to the undersigned stating he had no authority to terminate the deposition, Federal Rule 26C, if it's being used to harass Miss Martin, since he did not represent her, but she could do so herself and seek a protective order. Yeah, see, look, the undersigned told her he has no authority to terminate deposition because he doesn't represent. He doesn't represent her. He gave her legal advice in a fucking depo that derailed it. That is the epitome of wrongdoing in a court case. And he admits to it. He's flagrant about it. He tells you straight up, I couldn't do anything. I had no authority. No, you didn't have any fucking authority. The only thing you were there to do is listen. You could object. And you can ask questions, but you exceeded that. Yet again, I hope to God Randy uses this to crucify you there. I hope he bleeds you for more money because you were stupid enough to admit to it and then you can put it in front of a judge and point it out. And I hope to God he does. You've opened the door for it, and Randy doesn't need to play any Mr. Nice Guy. He doesn't owe you shit. Randy's playing the nice guy way too often with him. So I hope to God that he does what he should and just levies it against him. This led to more threats of sanctions by Attorney Shockett for alerting the witness of her rights. So you played the part of her counsel, even though you didn't represent her. That's fascinating. Huh. After which he stated he was, you interrupted, this is the way I would put it, you interrupted this to the degree that the witness became combative and non-responsive. So it needed to be terminated. I would say that I had other questions I was thinking about adding, but you had so derailed this and upset the witness that I had to terminate my questions. I asked what I needed to, but I would have had more. Now, if there are any relevant topics questioning, now this, by the way, is the law group note. This is on everything Randy puts up, but you notice still Bruce does not remove it, but it's okay. It'll be fine now. If the undersigned had sat silently, it would have gone on the length of 7 hours. Like, what's that? What's that to you? So you're telling me that there were other questions? Maybe those questions that you say would have just been the smoking gun for relevancy. Maybe they would have been there. Huh. So if you just shut the fuck up, maybe we would have actually found those. That would be fascinating. So he goes through again. He puts all this stuff out there. He says, all these people. Actually, give me a second here. Let's look at something real fast, by the way. Now, in this, just a note, there are addresses on this, but these addresses are where people are deposed. I still not going to leave them on the screen, but they're court places. Okay, they are not physical addresses. I want to make sure I roll past them, but those are court addresses that are noted in that. But he had noted. Let me see. I was trying to roll past that. He said. The depositions, like this is what he has to say. And I don't want to have to go through and remove all the court addresses. So I'm just going to read this part. he says, here's the following depots, their dates. All depots will be 7 hours, not including breaks. Will be held at Levy County Courthouse, except for Lisa Weeks, a.k.a. Her depot will be at this other place. So it goes through, it gives the dates for that. And it's fascinating. Again, he was told about all of that, and yet, all these people were properly notified. And yet, like I said, they somehow, in some way, they're like, I'm not going to show up. The undersigned briefly cross-examined Miss Martin to see if she knew anything about defamatory road signs underlying the plaintiff's claims. In the case, she only knew about them via YouTube videos. She was sent links by others in which the plaintiffs published signs. She was told about these defamatory road signs by other people. So there are a lot of people that seem to know about them, fascinatingly enough. Nonetheless, evidence was relied on for Doc 80, which he's asking for money on. And give me a second, I have my interruption again. What you doing? What do you got there? What is that? Huh. Let me put those up?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, here. Go. You better go. I'm telling you, if you want ice cream tomorrow. Otherwise, I love you too.
How's these dreams when you're sleeping?
I will have good dreams. You have good dreams tonight too, okay?
You do.
Yeah. Quick, go upstairs. You better, like I said, if you want ice cream tomorrow.
I'll get my clocks on.
I get it. You're not listening though. You know.
I'm trying to get my clocks on.
I get it, but you haven't been listening today. If you don't listen, we don't get rewards for not listening, do we? Okay, well, you're still being a good girl today. I get it. So just go upstairs, do what you need to do, and tomorrow we'll go have fun, okay?
Okay.
All right, love you. Close my door. See, that's the thing, too, okay? You hear that exchange, right? That noted, hey, you're doing something that she didn't want to go to bed. So she keeps getting up, finds reasons to do things. All right. Now, she'll probably still do it again. But you note that, hey, this is the thing. This could occur if not. But you give positivity. That's what I'm talking about when I hear exchanges coming from certain other people. And it tears a little part of my soul out, I feel like. Because it's all you have to do. You just... you reinforce. Every now and then you'll have something in life where you might have to go further. You might have to raise your voice or something, but it doesn't happen that often. You know? I mean, really, like, what's the terrible thing? I know, like a kid wanting to be around you. That's what they do, you know? So when I hear other folks, all they do is scream and yell and stuff, it really, I don't know. It's just awful to listen to. But anyway, through this, so it talks about, again, he quotes the statement by Randy. Miss Martin's deposition was the subject of a video, in which the plaintiff mocked her, threatened with legal action, made at least 10 threats of sanctions against the undersigned and other non-parties whose depot subpoenas were not effectively served and so did not appear. Oh, he's playing the not effectively served game. Well, that's fascinating because, certain people admitted that they were served. They admitted to it. So to play the not effectively served game, that's a really fascinating one. I hope Randy points that out too, because you can prove that depots were actually served. You know, you absolutely can. But anyway, this blah, 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 blah. You see, he spent half of the document on that. Now, 85, 86, he's going for that because he knows that the court, that was what they chose to bring up. Therefore, he decided that he would note that. Now, like I said, it's fascinating considering his own ineptitude is the reason that there were sanctions. His ineptitude, because the judge said, well, did you get served over that or anything else? And then no. So essentially, like I said, it was Bruce's ineptitude. He adds, does this and the other. And again, I fully disagree with the judge on the idea that you don't respond to that stuff. You respond to everything these morons do. It's just that, again, Bruce has papered this case. He's papered the shit out of it. So you're responding to a lot of things, and the judge doesn't like that. I get that too. I get the judge wouldn't like that. But I mean, if you don't respond and the judge goes in and he orders something, then what do? You're going to go in and be like, but judge, you're wrong. Okay, well, you're fighting from behind. Judges do not like to reverse their decisions either. So if you go in and you fight it beforehand. You respond to filings. That is typically what happens. In the court, they have to sort it out. But the court doesn't like that here. And like I said, I understand. Because in this case, you have 130 freaking one filings already, and we're where we are. But at the same time, like I say, what do you do in that? And the court even, it's a mixed message what the court is saying, because the court's saying that if something comes up and you need to respond, you file a motion for it. But if you file a motion for it, the court doesn't like it, they sanction you for it. So you see what I mean? It's this weird place where, again, the behavior of Bruce is pretty nasty and leads to a lot of bullshit. We'll see how the judge responds to him. Now, 85, 86, all of this is about it. We have ad nauseum talked about 85, 86. So I don't see a point in, if you want to read that, I definitely would suggest that you read that for yourself. Now, we also talked about Doc 80. Doc 80, that's where, again, moron decided that he would admit to copy pasting items. He did it in a way that, when you look at it, again, was he quoting one case in an area? No, he made it look like he quoted several. But instead of doing it and doing it the way that courts have recognized for how long now, he did it Bruce's way. That's interesting. So he's like, no, that's not what I actually did with that. So, of course, he spends part of that time with that. And this was his, okay, so here's his argument about the steno thing. Like I said, he quotes emails there, but he doesn't include all the emails. Would it be interesting if I have emails? Because I do have those emails. I need to pull them, though. I think we can make this our own topic, where instead of tonight going through and just covering him blah, blah, blahing about it, what we do is we cover his blah, 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 but we pull the emails, which he didn't bother to include, by the way. It's fascinating because if you go through this, with his filing, like I said, if you read, because that's where he goes with it. Again, he talks about the money in steno, but instead of including the email exchange, he decides that he's going to include this. And look, what's fascinating about this too is it includes Megan. She was talking yesterday, by the way. She was like, I didn't get included in there. Well, there you go. There you go. And it's fascinating because Megan Fox is under no obligation. And it's so fucking bizarre because she's allowed to talk about court cases. This piece of shit goes on. He goes on to another stream himself. He goes on all the times as the attorney, goes on to these people's admitted PR channel, talks about a case. But a person that is a journalist anybody can claim journalism. There is no, again, There's nothing that keeps someone like myself from saying, yeah, I'm a journalist too. But somebody that would fit the more accepted definition, the old school definition about working for companies and more. Yeah, Megan Fox fits that. So you have somebody that talks about this, and he includes them, but not only does he do that, look, he's made it where you can't tell whose videos are what. He took off any identifiable features. So for all you can tell about this, you have out of all of these, you have count them, one video that is by Jeremy Hales. The rest of them, again, he's throwing a shit fit about, deposition harassment. How the fuck is that deposition harassment, by the way? It is a public document. We are allowed in a court case to talk about depots. I found it fascinating that you didn't call it harassment when you wanted to aim that at Jeremy Hales, did you, buddy? No. He fed that to 2Ls. He fed that deposition to them. It was there. They had a damn live stream ready to go before it ever hit the docket. And I can tell you that with fucking certainty. Because they knew it was going to go off that day. They knew it was going to drop in when nobody else had any idea. Why? Because the guy who filed it had told them that it was going to land. They were ready to roll with it that day. So I find it fascinating that it's harassment when somebody that he doesn't like covering talks about a case. But it's not harassment when the butter twin powers activate, right? Isn't that interesting? But I think we should talk about that one thing, like I said, by itself later on. I need to pull all those emails. I've got them pulled. I've got a thing for them. I got to make sure everything is redacted on it. But like I said, this part where he's talking about it, his failure to pay. Like I said, he includes a few screenshots off of it. And like I said, it's fascinating here. The way that he's playing. And again, he wants to pretend this, not only this is there, but from what I understood, and you can correct this, Brucey, again, didn't you want Mr. Shunka to Venmo you money? Didn't you ask him to send you money? Not Steno? But you? That's the way I understood that. Wouldn't that be weird? Hey, by the way, just send me money directly. It's like, no. Let's not do it that way. I mean, it's so strange, right? Oh, man. But anyway, like this is his filing, again, where he has combined the majority of everything. He was allowed to, he pushes things well beyond sometimes, but he again was allowed to file this one. Now again, he has asked for, give me 1 minute here. He has asked for money, not just from those, but he has actually asked for money with one other. He did ask for it on 117 too. He asked for sanctions on, give me 1 minute here. Pulling that up. It's fascinating to find out, like all of this stuff, all things considered with it. But 117. Let's pull that real fast, just a note, because he's still got another sanctions filing out there. There's so much of this garbage. He likes to play this game too. You notice his newer filings. He's gotten in this. I'm going to quote Randy in the very beginning of it, like this. Oh man, look, here's a email from Randy to, oh my goodness. And I mean, look at it. This, by the way, this was him asking also for sanctions. And you can tell by going through, he's talking about wanting sanctions. This is not included in that, but this is still out there in the ether too. This is talking about requests for sanctions because of emails. Because, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at all these emails. Look at, again, this is retaliatory. You can tell the way that this is set up. This was him retaliating because he was taken to the carpet. He did not like that. He didn't like that Randy talked about his behavior. So he threw a fit. I mean, this is what throwing a shit fit looks like. Look at it. It's so crazy. I've seen some crazy stuff, but this is absolutely nuts. It's nuts that the judge let it go as far as it did. For real. You know, counsel shouldn't. One thing I have to agree with, like, what is opposing counsel supposed to do when a person acts like an unhinged loon? What are you supposed to do exactly? Are you supposed to just eat shit and take it? Because apparently that's kind of what's supposed, I guess, what you're told to do. And if you point it out, well, that's your bad. So bizarre, man. You know, because ultimately the person that has to control the courtroom is a judge. The other guy cannot control the courtroom. They don't have that power. Anyway, I'm gonna keep it short today. Let's read super chats. Let's do this real quick. Max Leb, thanks for the 2 there, kicking it off. Hey Tug, hey man, hope you're doing good. As always, to Max Lab, love to you, buddy. Appreciate your document sending. Appreciate you keeping up with dockets and more. Good stuff. Thank you. Marianne, thank you for 4 months on that too. There's not a statement attached to that one, but you did send a gifted membership as well. Thank you for that, Marianne. I appreciate that for sure. Thank you. Green Veggies, thanks for the 5 question. When I was a stripper, was it for the blonde? Maybe the deaf, that voice. I'm like thinking about that whole idea. That is not an idea that I would find like what I would want. Nickel Tink, thanks for the 5. I fell at PT today. It appears I've broken bones. But like, oh man. I hope. Oh man. And PT can be rough anyway. So I'm really sending you positives, keeping you in the prayers too as well. I mean, that's rough. So love to you for sure. That's a rough way to go. You take care of yourself for sure. Remy, thanks for the 20 there. Judge should pull his passport. No more media for you. Yeah, it would be interesting. And again, you know, that's been a talking point. I mean, in the past, when the guy has looked at sanctions, he's ran to Armenia. And again, you don't have to believe that from me. He made that point himself. He did. He absolutely did. You know, when you look at, again, I still have that pulled up here in front of me. His own letter where he brought that up, he said, you know, those who've wronged me and my clients, and they know who they are, cannot take away the happiness I've found here. Although geography won't prevent powerful people who are in charge of the profession from harming me with monetary sanctions, phony disciplinary investigations, unsigned editorials designed to tarnish my reputation, all of which have occurred in the past. So yeah, not a conspiracy. Huh. Fascinating. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Jack's mom, thanks for the 5 there. Did you know that what is 1 to 2 day shipping turns into like a week plus delivery time to your address? What the hell? Visas get to space, but not Tennessee. Yeah, it's pretty bad sometimes in our areas. You know, I run into the same thing out here. You know, and it's fascinating because it's not the rural setup. What it is it's the post office is not a main branch. So what happens is they'll oftentimes direct they have a Chattanooga main hub, and then when they send out, they'll either direct into the main post office and send it on to a secondary post office, which is just a weird chain of events, or who knows. But yeah, it is very weird. Thank you, Jack's mom, too. I get it. It's very crazy and weird. Rhea Ra, thanks for the tune there. Tomorrow is my cat Billy and Eric's 5th birthday. That's cool. Let me give them some love. Let's put it in cat style. Meow 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 meow. There you go, perfect. We meowed them out. For real, Rhea. Love to you. Love to Mark. Love to your cats. To the whole family. Appreciate you too. Peggy, thanks for the 10. Watched last night's live today. You and Megan had me laughing so hard with the BB animation regarding his motion. Loved it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun setting it up. I think this weekend I'm going to play with some of the animation setups and see exactly what can be done, with a few of those, stringing them together, making him like talk a whole time. So when you read something, it might be a little more entertaining. I think you had fun with that. Well, yeah, thanks for the fun there, Tongue. I had a river secretly running through my house. Yeah, I felt like that at one time. Yep. Bees. Yep. Still there. Move in. Tree. That's when they give me a sunroof. My God. Yeah, that's actually the second tree that tried that. Last year we had we've been lucky though with storms, to be honest, because some of the storms have been so severe. We lost a trampoline that wrapped around a tree. Just some of the insanity. But last year we had a tree come down that was closer than we wanted. Let's just say it was much closer than we wanted. And when that tree came down, all I could think was, ooh, that was a little bit too close for comfort. But compared to a lot of places around here, out in the boonies too, you end up with a lot more problems. So we're not like deep isolation boonies, but we're far enough away that, yeah, you get some, but you are right. It's crazy. Bootsy takes you to 7. Is there any truth to the rumor that Bruce paid a shaman $700 to put a protective spell on him for his last trip to Pensacola? He probably called hey Bruce, did you call a 1-900 number and ask Miss Cleo her advice? Miss Cleo, what do you think? No, actually, unfortunately, I believe Miss Cleo has passed. All jokes aside, I really liked Miss Cleo back in the day. You can imagine that discussion. You ask Bruce like that in a courtroom, and he would be like, he'd come up and he'd be like, well, actually, she told me, blah, 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 blah. Miss Cleo. Oh my God. Yeah, it's sad Miss Cleo's gone for real. I mean, she's an entertainer. She belonged to, she didn't even have the rights to her own name. That was such a mess anyway. She became this giant figure and she didn't even have the rights to it. God, sad. But yeah, poor Miss Cleo. There's some fascinating videos talking about her, by the way, out there. Bonnie, thanks for the 5. How is he doing this when he filed a motion that he's been discharged? Well, it hasn't been ruled on yet. It's all that extra. Oh, by the way, I did forget to bring this up. I apologize. So the judge has said, and the wording of it is kind of fascinating too, because, let's just pull it up. We'll read it together real fast. It's not a big freaking ruling. The judge said, upon consideration is ordered 10th day of April 2025. Defendants filed a motion for attorney's fees. You saw that, Doc 131. The court will require plaintiff to expedite his response. Accordingly, plaintiff must file a response on or before April 18th, 2025. That's usually a sign that he's ready to sanction and to make a decision, but he wants to add that in there. Other than, he's doing his housekeeping. That could mean that sanctions are going to roll and that he's going to make a decision on Bruce, because he mentions this here, and it's fascinating to me the way this reads. All right, I'm wondering again. I don't really know. You don't know how a judge is going to be, but other than plaintiff filing his response to Doc 131, nothing else should be filed until the court resolves, number one, the issues for sanctions against defense counsel and his pending motion to withdraw. So again, what's fascinating to me is when it's talking about his pending motion to withdraw, it doesn't mention that he's like, I want to stay it for right now, though. I mean, again, the stuff he pulled, the judge honestly should not let him withdraw on his own terms. The judge should remove his pro hoc vice. That's what should happen. Now, will that happen? Who knows? We don't know. But if the judge does it on his own term, that has larger consequences. This whole fiasco, though, again, Bruce wants to play the whole I'm going to sue you game. This has shown how just over the top and crazy he has acted. You can take this. I mean, I would put together an entire filing just pointing out like the way that he has handled himself with other things. Of course, he's willing to harass and attack people over, again, the mac and cheese bullshit, over a slap on the wrist. He's willing to, they put it in file. They're like, you can't even contact us anymore. So the stuff that he's done with this it's crazy. So, I mean, that's the filing. So we have until the 18th. So there's 7 days for Randy to get together whatever he wants to respond with. He can respond earlier if he wants, but he has 7 days to respond to that because there's housekeeping that needs to be done. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be fascinating. But yeah, like you said, with the discharge, it has not been decided on. He can't come in and say, I'm leaving, and the judge, you can't tell the judge what to do. You don't get to decide. The judge, this is his case. The judge decides what's there. So, see what's what. Willie, thanks for the tip. I can't believe the courts are letting this go on for so long. I think Bruce did an effective job of taking Randy and his approach and letting Bruce effectively paint everyone as a villain. He tried to effectively paint Randy as just as bad as he is. Now, I'm not saying that worked. I think the court has seen, because he refused to show up and stuff, that, hey, this guy's an absolute lunatic clown. But he was able to paint everybody as bad guy. And that, to me, that's wild, Because, again, like, how are you supposed to respond to this shit? When a dude is just off the chain in depositions and more, how are you supposed to respond to that? Are you supposed to tell him, hey, I'm going to contact the judge? Yes, that's what we do. And he did that. He kept telling him, look, you can't do this. You cannot do this. We're going to ask for sanctions. We brought it up too, and we turned it over to the judge. Judge did nothing. Did nothing, man. So yeah, that is on the judge. Again, he wants to treat it like it's a two-way problem. Okay, well, he can have an issue with both counsel. That's his courtroom. The thing is, though, when he looks at filings, you should remember responses. It's fascinating. Somebody files a bullshit thing, which they ask for part of to be removed later on, by the way, on their own. You sanction him for a filing where this fucking clown of a lawyer removes part of it himself voluntarily so he can move it a third time to something else. I'm going to be like, but both parties, really? You better sanction the shit out of him. But I mean, until I see it, again, we've had a lot of discussions over what should or shouldn't. I have seen no indication that Bruce will face real consequences until it happens. I would think not showing up to the court would be a real consequence, but until it happens, I won't believe it. Because some of the stuff he's done in this case is well beyond. I mean, like I said, I've watched so many cases. I've seen bad lawyers. I've seen people sanctioned for crazy shit and kicked off cases and more. Now, guy's just out there still clowning. Lady Tammy, drop that 10 there. Ice cream money. Yeah, thank you for that. I am going to, like I said, take the kids tomorrow. Look at, there's an ice cream shop in Cookeville, Tennessee. And it is good. They make their own ice cream. Cookeville is a little college town. It's where Tennessee Tech is. Tennessee Tech is actually a very good place. That is the number one nursing institution in Tennessee. It's better than any other place out here at creating apt nurses. I'm not saying other nurses that go other places, they aren't, because I've worked with many that were all over the place. But the institution itself, it's better geared for that. It has some pretty good programs. I went out there. I liked it there. I liked it better than like Middle Tennessee State University, MTSU. And I didn't want to go around UT or anything. Like UT is more of a, if you want to spend a lot of money and most people party, yeah, that's your place. But if you wanted to do anything there, Vanderbilt is somewhere where if you want to spend a lot of money, you want to, if you want that Vanderbilt name. But for us folks just trying to get by in the real world, TTU is pretty good. But Cookeville, the little town that's around it, there's not armies of stuff there considering the population, but they have some great eateries and they have a place where, again, ice cream is freaking good. It's fantastic. So I'm going to take the girls out there. Get them some ice cream. They've been doing all their good stuff. So thank you for that. They will enjoy it for sure. Thomas, thanks for the 2. Logan wants Funworks edible paper. Is that what it's called? Funworks edible paper. She's talked about it a million times. Edible paper. Yeah, she has talked about that like a million times. I've not seen a place that physically sells that. I guess I can order it. Yeah, that's what she's talking about. I've never seen a place that physically sells that Funworks. I'll show you what she's talking about there. You're right. So she keeps talking about candy paper. Yeah, this is the stuff she's talking about here, So I might look at some of these places that sell. Some of these places are crazy. I guess that's for a crate or something of it. That better be either for that price. But yeah, she apparently saw it on something, and she's like, "Oh my God, candy paper and pen! I must have it." It looks like strips of bubble gum that you put, you put some kind of icing on top of. That's what it looks like to me there. But she saw it on something. I remember being a kid and seeing commercials for stuff and being like, "Oh my God, that is amazing." So I can't say much about it. Thank you, Thomas, by the way. I didn't mark that. Chris, thanks for the 5. For the Tuglets to have fun. Thank you for that. Yes, they will have fun too. Actually, the oldest wants to go and buy books. She wants books to read. And I'm like, yes, that is okay. That is okay. She's like, "Dad, there's a store down here that I want to look at. Plus, there's a bookstore. I want to go." Like, a bookstore, all right. I'm down with that. When your kid's like, "Hey, I want to buy books to read." Oh, yes. Especially in this day and age, yes. I'm 100% down with that. So we'll be doing that. Ball and Hero, thanks for the gifted membership on that. How you doing, Fallen Hero, by the way? The thing locked up there. I was trying to make sure it cleared. Thank you, Fallen Hero. Appreciate you, buddy. Andre, thanks for the 2. Just dropped a video short on BB. I'll check that out. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Thank you, too. Thank you for letting me know. I will. Vanessa, thanks for the 5. What's a narc? Yeah, Bug learned her first slang word for no tattling. That's right. She's the real star in chat. And she is. She's funny. You know, I'm surprised she didn't come back. I did give her a green light to come back. Just I wanted to finish stuff. Yeah, though. Yeah, she's so funny about that. She wants to. Well, the secret there, honestly, if you listen to what she said, I don't know if her sister actually said a bad word, but she wants to say a bad word. Do you know when you were little, there were forbidden words that you weren't allowed to say, or you would get in trouble, right? I'm sure all of you probably experienced that, but she's found a loophole in that. She's found the loophole if she's telling. You know, if, oh, Sissy said this, you notice she said, can I say it? And like, no, no, you cannot say it because it lets her say that bad word, you know. So I'm not sure if that even happened or if it's just an excuse for her to try to say a bad word. And she knows, like, yeah, it's funny. Even when she's, you know, been playing upstairs and everything, she won't attempt to drop a bad word. She's afraid she'll be found out, so she's trying to get permission for it in a roundabout way, which is hilarious. I love it. I have my favorite. Thanks for the money towards tree removal. Tree removal money. Yeah, I'm gonna. There's a guy. There's a really good guy. He comes out. He helps out with certain things out here, and I pay him for it. I'm not asking him to do it for free, but a good guy. He does a lot of stuff in town and everything else. In fact, if people lived in this town, I would recommend him. You know, because he's a nice guy. He'll come out and I'll get him to chainsaw that thing up. It sucks, man. Normally I'd be out there chainsawing that thing on myself. But I don't think with all the medical stuff I should be, you know, with the potential for passing out from something or fainting, you know, because of the blood pressure thing. I don't think I should be playing with a chainsaw. I do miss playing with a chainsaw, though. I actually like getting the chainsaw out. You know, I don't have many occasions to do it. So when I have an occasion to use the chainsaw, I do usually like to take it out and not have to pay somebody else. This is crazy, by the way. I don't know if you all have ever had to have trees removed or anything. We have some trees that are much, much taller than my house. They scare me a little bit because I'm afraid one might fall one day and, oh my Lord, it would be a mess. But these trees, I had to have 2 of these monsters removed and then 8 of them topped. And the cost was, holy God, it was so high. Now, I had a place, you know, I was calling around, and this one place gave me a quote that was just ridiculous. You know, it was low. It was very low. But I looked up their comments. I'm not going to call the place out. The place was, somebody was like, yeah, I got these guys to come out, and these 2 guys, it said these 2 rednecks, they came out, and I thought I was going to have to call them a hearse. That was one of their reviews, and it went in about them securing themselves to a tree that, it was the funniest thing. But these guys, they were like, yeah, we do it for like $200. I was like, man, they're going to drop a tree on your house for that. They do not know what they're doing. And you could just read. I mean, it was comically bad. The place that did come out was, they came out with like an army of trucks, and it was amazing to watch them work. They were able to do work I figured would take 2 or 3 days. They did it in 45 minutes. But they had an army of vehicles, and it was impressive. But I was thinking about those 2 clowns. You imagine a guy like going to chop down a big tree and securing himself to the very tree he was chopping down with the chainsaw. Oh my God, it sounded pretty funny. I loved the review for it. Ellen, thank you for that super sticker, by the way. Thank you, Ellen. That is awesome of you. It's very much appreciated, too. Thank you. Taz, thanks for the 2. Just taking a break. I love you, tongue. And then hugs. Hey, well, back at you as well. And that's okay. And look, this case is, people do other things or whatever. But this case is, typically we wouldn't have a case go this long. Not like this. We'd be covering other stuff in between or talking about something. And when BBB's off of it, maybe it would be that way. I don't really know because you have all this stuff. We don't know how federal case number 2 will be. Okay. Again, I don't make any predictions on it because it's in its infancy. I don't know what will or won't survive. I mean, you never know with a case. Cases are crazy like that. It is fascinating, though. I saw people talking about the Hale lawyer filing where he asks for more definitive statements. I saw like Darth Touch, for example, post about that being like, the judge called it a shotgun filing, and I thought it was fascinating because he missed all these ecosystem weirdos. They missed one thing in it. It was an agreed upon statement or a request. So the counsel actually sat down and talked to one another, and they agreed upon a more definitive filing, which is totally good. And again, the fascinating thing with Hale's counsel, we haven't seen a lot from him so far, but everything he's filed so far, he seems competent. It's very strange to see in this mess. But he's been competent so far, so we'll see more on what goes on. And again, we will have more definitive filings. There was also a statement, there was a video by Hales today where he talked about adding, again, paint chips and Darth Touch. Now, paint chips has done some things that, those are illegal. So they would definitely be some things that cause problems, again, and Darth Touch may think that he somehow is above the fray. But here's an interesting little quandary he has. He shared a byline on the article that used the revenge porn stuff. Oh, yeah, it's embedded in his article. Huh, that's weird, isn't it? Isn't that? And it 100%, if you look up what revenge porn is, if you take somebody's image, their face, and you stick it with acts like that, people can identify you. That violates revenge porn. They made video that showcased Hales, showcased Fox, and he was like, are you kidding me? Are you this stupid? And on top of it, the interesting thing is Paint Chips has a history of being accused of doing some pretty jacked up stuff just like that. I think he's a slam dunk. I do. Now, I mean, it's fascinating. If that happened in other places, again, it's fascinating to me that you have statutes on the books where that should be a problem. And you have an ex-con who has a history like him. Usually, most police would care. Now, did the moron police that we've dealt with so far? Probably not. I don't know. But, one of the things filing about them, oh yeah, they would be wonderful inclusions, I believe. I think there's plenty to talk about some pretty gross stuff that they've done. And they're recruiting, it's pretty cut and dry. They were recruited. They were fundraised for. BBB again was warned of who and what they were. He was okay with that. So it's pretty cut and dry stuff. I think you include him. And again, his pal. They have byline together. So they posted an article with that in it, and they fundraise based on it. Huh. Weird, isn't it? Okay, thanks for the 20 there. Ice cream money for the girls. Oh, thank you, Katie. Yeah, like I said, they'll enjoy that. That freaking place is awesome. I'll take some pictures of it. Y'all, I love it there. Just Jay, Thanks for the 5. I like Bruce and his team of outcasts. Well, the content anyway. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I actually do enjoy laughing at a lot of the stupid they do. They're entertaining in a way that, like a train wreck is, I suppose. They are. So I do agree with that. They're hard to look away from as they are train wrecking this mess. You had to know, though, sooner or later, the wall keeps coming and coming, and sooner or later, they would hit it. Now, I hope, too, when Randy points out things that Bruce said he's going to be pulling the strings behind the scenes as well. I hope that gets noted. I have my favorites. Thanks for 2. I believe 5 Below stores carry that edible. Do they? If anybody sees that stuff, let me know if you see it in like a 5 Below. I don't know. We have a 5 Below, but I have to drive all the way to Murfreesboro. We don't have one anywhere near us. So if they do indeed do that, let me know about that. And I'm curious with it. But that's fascinating. I would look over there if they did. I never go in one. Again, I have to go to Murfreesboro. I think I have to go Monday. I've got a doctor's thing. I've got a, what do they call that? It's a stress test. It's something table test. It's where they have you stand to sit at 45 minutes, I think it can take, where they test to see, if you become faint, lightheaded, all of that. And there's only one place that does that anywhere nearby. It's in Murfreesboro. So I think I've got to go there Monday. Star Asher, thanks for the month there. Big thank you for whoever gives memberships, though, so you can afford it. Indeed. See, I love that freaking option. I think that's great. I agree. Emma, thanks for the 2. Keep away from the cheats. Oh, I know. Be like, what do they call you? 9-finger umbrella. I'm like, well, funny about that. It'd be like Inspector Gadget. I'll take one of those little margarita freaking umbrellas and strap it to where my finger was. Oh, so fun. Amanda, thanks for the vibe. It happened to me. My son's unit gathered my photo and attached my face to others' body, and they were sent to everyone. All the soldiers did it. That's, say, that right there. That falls under, like I said, revenge crime, especially Florida. They have specific statutes against that. There are a lot of statutes out there now. Florida, they have a very cut and dry one. That should be, Tubbs, he exists there. So you'd think that'd be a problem. But then again, having any of these places actually do something, that's been a problem as well. That's been a huge problem as well. Let me check some here. Hey, Cheryl, by the way, it's 25 there. Sorry I had an issue. Just got it straight. Hey, well, thank you. I'm good to see, the only thing with that, again, that's all fine. The one thing I would say with it, by the way, is I'm glad to see you, I get used to like a name that highlights. It doesn't have anything just to do with that. It's like it's so used to seeing it. I'm like, where'd that person go? Are they okay? And sometimes when I don't notice a name, I like when specific ones of you go missing for a little while, you have something come up or anything, I do notice that you're away. Sometimes is it tactful to ask? And I don't know. So sometimes I don't. I might ask mods or something if they have heard anything about you. But it's good to see you for that. Dare, by the way. What's up, man? By the way, thank you. Thank you for before. Thank you for that. 15 there. Tree funding. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Like I said, that's awesome of you. Oh man, what a day. What a week. I thought we were going to get a break. That's what they kept telling us. We also have that police report. I guess I'll save that. I guess I'll sit on that. I may or may not be here tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. Megan, by the way, just to note, I should have noted this earlier. For some reason, I didn't think about it. Megan will be away next week. So you and we will be covering whatever. I'm not sure yet, but we will be covering here. We won't seesaw back and forth. So we'll just chill and hang out and cover here. All right. So today, what is it? Friday? That means it's expert day? Let me set my redirect up real quick. Give me a minute. Expert. I have to find the redirect. Man, sometimes the redirects are so weird. There's a bunch of people live streaming tonight. Like random channels. It's kind of weird. Like some of them that I haven't seen in a hot minute there. I cannot find the expert's link, though. It won't link me to it. I don't see their live stream. That's strange. Give me 1 minute, sorry. Trying to see if I see them on my list here. Is the expert live? See, I have an army of different channels. And these, they don't separate them. They clump all of that. And sometimes it makes a mess of things. There's also, in the expert, one thing that I would suggest is, he's on. Say, I cannot find his link. Let me see if I can pull it off of Twitter. Just give me a minute. Apologies for that. I like to redirect. There he is. Go over this way. It's just weird. Okay, see, there's two channels. There it is. I found it. There's two channels called The Expert, and there's one channel that is a huge channel, and it takes up all of the recommends. If you look up just the channel The Expert, what you'll find is another channel. You don't find the Expert's channel that we redirect to, and that makes confusion with searching. Even when I'm searching through live channels, because I have you have a list of whoever's live that you subscribe to. Well, he's not showing under mine as live, but he is live because I just found the link. So I'm going to redirect you to that in just a second. By the way, Wife Duck, thanks for the 5 there. Wilton Cake and Makers and Printable Cake Decorations. I'm both available at Michael's. I should look there. That's I didn't think about looking at Michael's. That's a good note. I think there's a Michael's over in Cookeville where I'm going to be tomorrow too. So I didn't even think about the decoration paper like that or something there. See, she's talking about like an edible paper, but I think all that is a it's probably like bubble gum or something. That's how I imagine it, something like that. The way they have it, who knows? Or it's just a sugar sheet or something. So I didn't think about looking over there though. And Rach, thanks for the 2. Will I be going? One second, Becky. I'll be going to the P.O. Box later next week. Yes, for sure. 100%. I did do a P.O. Box run recently, though. I got, so what all did we get with there? You got your,
Candy.
You got your candies, of course. You got a big snack box, which was amazing. Those things are cool, man. You had like chips in there and everything. That was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I get the pretzels to 50 because no whole likes pretzels.
Yeah. Somebody sent activity books, which was fun. We've already gone through like half the activity book for you, right? Where you
I have one.
You do the rainbow scratch. Yeah, you've done a bunch of those. You love those. So
it was only 2.
Yeah, I mean, you knocked that one out, didn't you?
Yeah, the other one I knocked out.
Yeah,
I did all the pages.
Boom, boom.
I did every single page on that book, but the other book only did 2.
Yeah, that was cool though. It had an umbrella in there and everything, didn't it? That was wild, wasn't it? Then they had there was somebody handmade you a scarf.
What's
a hat? The thing you wear around your neck to stay warm. Remember? You saw it? You
How
wore it.
money?
You put it on.
Money.
I see the money there. They're talking about the edible paper, by the way.
I'm with the babe.
Yeah, they're telling me the store that might actually have that.
Yeah, tell me.
Well, they're telling me, because they said Michael's. Can you remember Michael's tomorrow?
Yeah, I
Remember
meant.
Yeah, they're talking about a store that might have the edible paper.
Yeah, it's not a TV show that you never watch.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you don't watch that TV show.
So somebody said, look, okay, so Cheryl here. Can you say thank you, Cheryl, by the way? They're talking about your candor. They said Five Below has it. Five Below is in Murfreesboro. I got to go to Murfreesboro.
Five Below.
I got to go to Murfreesboro on Monday to the doctor. So I could go by Five Below and look and see if they have it there.
Yeah, so don't want the Five Below. It's like, get them. Get the paper. Look like camping paper.
Well, I will look and see there. Look, Emma also. Can you say thank you to Emma? She was looking that up too. Can you say thank you?
Thank you.
She said that there's edible rice paper. It can be printed on. That might be interesting. Yeah, anything that you can write on and decorate and stuff.
Yeah, if you write on it, you can make a rice on there and you rice on the paper.
Oh, really? Is that what you do with it?
Yeah, and then you can eat the paper after.
Yeah.
But if you just eat the paper without the pen, then that will not taste good.
Why can't I just eat regular paper?
Because that's not edible.
Are you sure? What if I eat a regular pen? Regular pens, yummy.
You can eat the pen and it's the same too, but you can eat the paper when you draw on it.
Oh.
Like, what's your favorite food?
What's my favorite food? Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
You can draw steak on it whatever you want, even fruit.
I like steak.
Okay, so you put steak on there, you can put whatever. Fruit, bananas, anything.
Oh my goodness. Nanas too?
Yeah,
That's pretty slick. That's a pretty good hookup.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you want out candy, have candy paper. If you need real paper, you go to
printable paper for cakes. I say I'm still going to look at Michael's. I'm going to see like what they have because I didn't even think about going over there.
What did it say? What's the saying?
You're trying to help figure out where they have that. Can you say thank you? I am my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite.
That was
my
nutty.
Crocs. Can I take these Crocs off, please?
I don't know why you have them on. You have them on the wrong foot too.
That's why the heart.
Yes. So have you been running around? Did you put your Crocs back on? She has a little pair of Crocs slip-ons, and you put them on the wrong foot. Have you been running around with those on again? Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of uncomfortable when you run around with the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. I don't know how you do that,
I don't even know.
She'll put it on the wrong foot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so uncomfortable. Hey, can you say, here's Vanessa. She asked, do you use Five Below gift cards? If somebody gave you a gift card to go get candy and stuff, would you use it?
Yes, I would.
You would? Are you sure?
Yeah, I would buy a whole candy that place is on.
Yeah, I don't think that is very true. Can you say thank you, by the way, Vanessa?
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be very choosy. I think candy overrides
I love candy.
any sensibility.
You know this.
Yeah, of course. Hey, my favorites. They say your local Five Below says they have it. I'll check tomorrow. All right. Yeah, if you see it there, like I said, let me know. It's because Murfreesboro is like a 45-minute drive for me normally, or I just ride out and check. Our little town out here barely has anything. We had a Big Lots, but they went out of business. All the Big Lots, so kind of ruined things. Man, you are hyper.
I'm always hyper.
You went to Gigi's today. You went to your grandma's, and she sugared you up, didn't she? Yes, that's what this is.
She always sugared me up.
Yeah.
Look at me, chocolate chips.
She gave you chocolate chips.
That's my name, G-Up.
Is that why you're energied up?
I had 2 bowls.
You had what?
Two bowls of chocolate
Oh
chips.
my lord. No wonder you're running back and forth. You said you're energied up. Hey, hey, be careful running that way. Don't fall into the door, okay?
That's why I stop when I get to you.
She's like, Gigi, my grandma fired me up with it. That's what grandparents are for, though. I mean, they'll love it. All right. Well, I'm going to redirect you now. I'm going to send you over to the expert. I hope you all have fun.
Bye.
Tell them Tug sent you. Yeah, say bye.
Bye.
Oh, we got one more. Let's say, hey, it's for Emma, Gigi, and the candy dealer. Yes, indeed. Indeed, Emma. Thank you, by the way. But we're going to bounce. Appreciate y'all. May see you tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. Depends on how it goes. But